Oh, hello everyone. Hello, Internet. Just picking bones with anyone who will try to stifle my ability to participate in this wonderful yet warted community. Commonality is our purpose for the sake of preserving as much liberty as we can for the sake of our progeny, our posterity, our children, those yet unborn. And I take no relish in still having the same number of subscribers as I had since another had said to specifically unsubscribe from me and not to have anything to do with me, because if any interaction on my channel or any banned, excommunicated individual from People Purge, that's a good one, isn't it? Now, please don't get me wrong. I have not had any ill intent for the liberty movement, and there must have been some sort of misperception and miscommunication, and that's odd when we're both wordsmiths and words are so important, but sometimes emotions or miscommunication when you have to play the game of telephone, since there's an intermediary required to communicate in the land of what we're supposed to be having communication is key, but that's a whole nother irony. We also have to learn to keep our sense of humor and our wits. I thought I might open up the vids like this. That wasn't a sexual innuendo. That's me crawled up in a fetal position, sucking my thumb. No, I don't think that will happen, although I do have to say that after, I think, Stalin Purge 2 day, that I was going through the supermarket, and I did suddenly have a burst of emotion and tears. I guess that was a natural cathartic, and I felt more than I was trying to let on, because people is very important to me, and I mean him no harm. I want his library protected. If there's anyone out there who has IT acumen or simply the time to protect his library or make certain it's an archive in the event people or others who were close to him have not. As far as I know, that's not the case. I hope I'm wrong, because there's so much good information and content teaching the nuances of the Constitution in a profound way that most of us have not thought about, and it becomes simple and profound after the fact. But it's not something that just comes to you easily. It took me a little while, and then I came on board the Liberty ship, on board the Liberty train, for the sake of our progeny, never to do any intentional harm to people, because that would mean that it affects liberty, and that's where all my focus is. That was my mission statement when I decided to come into the liberty movement from the pundit world and my private world, because there are only so many years left. I'm only months from 72, and I'm blessed to still have an imagination and a little bit of moxie, if I might say, and I try to use that moxie kindly. I know that people feels abandoned, and sadly, he's put so much pressure upon himself for his metamorphosed persona from a person to a people. It takes a high energy level, a high state of volition. It's psychic energy Robin. We have a brilliant man here. What he's taught us in that library that we have is worthy of having a master's program. It should be an adjunct course available for every law degree in a university. That's just my opinion. But people is still immortal, M-O-R-T-A-L. He's a human being who's trying to act, to be, not to act. It's not an act. The perception in life is most important, and people transform themselves from one aspect to another, and he's still a biological human being with certain needs and frailties that we all have to uncover and look in a mirror sometimes. I'm the only exception. I never have to do that because I'm perfect. So, yes, we should all get a chuckle from that now so we can move on about that absurdity. A mature individual can do that, and it's not easy because none of us like to be told that we have a scintilla of fault to us. It's a natural defense mechanism, I would think. So I understand why people feels as he does and wishes to use me as a scapegoat for all the causations of the ills happening in his life. It's actually consistent in the same manner as the last year. The end of last season was unwound a little bit, and Lady Justice came to the rescue because she respects him so much as I do. Even now, I have no antagonism. I wasn't going to be drawn in by a hook to enter the fray of drama. That's specifically against my credo of coming into this movement. You think I didn't know it was strewn all about? I'm here to try to show commonality and rationality, and as people would say, reasonableness. Well, the people have to be peaceable. The citizens have to be reasonable. And that's a subtle but important difference. And yes, I've learned all these things. I think people might have made an innuendo. Some of these things, it's confusing whether he was referring to me or the original sinner, Lady Justice Liberty Press, who was part of the very first purge. Well, that's actually not true because the mods got purged. But that was a good thing at the beginning. When you build up too many mods, it diminishes what that purpose of the mod is, and is often necessary to help build a new channel and to show a way of giving an award. But when it's given out like candy, and you might have a rogue mod from time to time take out as vengeance on an innocent bystander or someone they're just not getting along with from, let's say, his own personal channel, not people, a mod in general. When you have so many, it's hard to say who did what or why, because it's intent one has to prove, same in law and court of public opinion, a little less so. And that's why sometimes it's good, just like in a corporation, if things get out of hand and the cancer of bad employees, you have to fire them all and sometimes take some good with the bad, just like we have to do RICO to police departments and sadly to some constitutionally elected sheriffs as well. And some good cops are going to have to spend time behind bars with the bad if we can ever get an attorney general and with some titanium ones. I think that every higher court judge from district up to Supreme should be required as entry to watch random 100 cop watcher and First Amendment auditor, and by whatever name is still as sweet to me, I won't go over semantics as to who wishes to be called an auditor or not. I'd like to see those judges have to watch 100 of them and discuss it with each other. And that might give them a better grasp, because images are often far more powerful than even words, which can be powerful and combined. Very few things can stop them in the long run, as long as they're allowed to be expressed. So, anyway, so I understand that people feel abandoned. There's always mitigating circumstances. And when you're in a position, either they're a cop who can't ever admit that they have any fault, or else they turn to dust. So too, people would have a little more difficulty than the general population in admitting fault, because he would internally have difficulty with handling that. That's why he's willing to go to the extremes, like Gandhi, or MLK, as he refers himself, in a secondary type of position, but still compares himself to that, and that's reasonable. And there is a little messianicness in anyone who attains levels like that, where they have great influence over others, almost to the point where others might be fearful of them. So people is trying to live in pure virtue. His purpose and his goal is virtuous. He's trying to fight in a war against totalitarian and especially authoritarianism presently. Sometimes we can lose sight when we gain power and they're disturbed, not mentally disturbed, but just upset emotionally. And when we're personally involved in things, or if we want to use the word peoplely involved in things, that was pretty funny too. Did that make you laugh, people? I know you're watching, people. Now, when you say I was watching on your last vid that you did keep up so far for a full day, I really would like you to put up the original Purge number 1, Pope People's Purge day 1, that like 2.25 hour video of castigating and character assassination. The hyperbole was bad, and the fact that you can have your own memory serve you in such a way means that you didn't really even fully pay attention. You know, Lady Justice had to bring to your attention that one of my sayings and code sayings are so important to you, and there's some merit to that also. But since I had written the following at least 500 or 1,000 times probably over the past year and a half, preserving liberty for the sake of all our progeny, regardless one's hue. Now, you started repeating that on People's School, and I appreciate that. But you turned to Lady Justice, and she said, yeah, I know that. I've seen that quite often, or something to that effect. When many times we were sitting in my bedroom while I was stretching out my legs. Because I stretch a lot. You see, I'm old. One of the reasons I'm still agile is I do this often. It's my house. I do it when I want to. I felt comfortable with you, so you didn't have to take it as a sexual. Seriously? I'm 70, almost 2 fucking years old. I mean, if you have a thing for old women, let me know. I didn't think that there was any physical attraction between us. I mean, I'm old and wrinkled. I wouldn't want to have anything to do with me. Maybe the one back at 45 with that photo I have. Sure, I can just understand that. So, I'm meandering, but we might as well get things off. Well, it's stream of consciousness and on my mind, and to correct any misunderstandings. And we'll let COPO figure it out, I guess. Thus far, I mean, you said that I was going to lose all my friends. I'd have none. I don't have any friends. Nobody likes me. No one will follow me. Everyone will keep on subbing from me because Leslie's a rat. A rat? That's a rat. It's a strong word. A rato. I can't trill my R's anymore in Spanish. because I did have a third of my tongue removed. Shit happens, right? So I wasn't conspiring to take Lady Justice away from you. She's a big girl, and she decided voluntarily to get involved with you. And if there's any remorse about it, that's her business, not mine. Any suggestions I gave to you? Oh, right. In the board of directors we're setting up for People's School, allegedly, I believe I'm the facilitator is my board title. Is that like a consigliere? You know I am not of counsel. My father was an attorney. Not me. But I do like the Constitution. Until a better document comes along, I don't foresee that. This one allows for adjustments, amendments. So, I like the slow process. I don't like democracies. I like constitutional republics where the minorities and guilty are protected from the temporary mob of the majority. I think that's a good thing. It's not perfect, but we have an awful lot of diverse populations in this country. So we need rules. Can't just have a big utopia as much as we'd like. And I really can't condone when I sense that others are becoming a little too authoritarian and consumed to a point of almost trance-like behavior. I never told you I was fully aboard with you. We've discussed that. I asked to unmod you several times over the years. For you to unmod me, I mean. For different reasons. None that I was ever unhappy with you. I just wanted you to know I could. And you denied it. You said I'm not allowed to be unmodded. Because I'm anointed. I don't know why I have a mental block of remembering that. I always wanted to think untouchable. But that's more like an Elliot Ness type of thing. Hoover and the FBI. But you said I'm anointed. And that it's impossible. I could never be kicked out or unmodded because I'm anointed. I couldn't do wrong. Part of the reason you want me around is I'm about the only one who's willing to stand up to you. And that's not easy. You're a very strong personality. It's easy to be in fear of you. I prefer not to confront anyone. And when I do, it's my 2 cents. And I don't have to talk about every topic you want to talk about. And if it's a union, and if the union means anything that anyone wants to talk about, we have to talk about, well, then I don't abide by that portion of it. I'll support you in all sorts of other aspects. There's some I'll decline. And if you want my help, you can have it. If not, I serve at your pleasure. I'm not here to hurt your channel or liberty. Liberty is more important to me than you. I hope you agree with that, and that's a form of commonality, just as being have some different political positions is secondary to me right now. I'll join with anyone from the left or right, whether they pray or not, and even though not religious, I'll hold hands with someone in prayer if that means that it helps to preserve liberty in the long run for the sake of our progeny of all hues. And that too we should have in common. Now, if that goal is actually attained, then if you want to go by way of socialism, well, with some sort of interesting free market because you don't believe in possessions. I know that's for people and for persons with privilege, but it gets a little hazy there because I am concerned about those who have the type of, you said that your eyes are like mesmerizing. Your blue eyes, not your green eyes, are mesmerizing. And I would like you to put those 2 vids back up that you took down. The ones where you were trying to castigate and defame Lady Justice, and then Pope Purge Pope People Purge, right, that's how it is. You have to get the code right and say it right. It's Pope People Purge. Pope People Purge excommunicates, what's that word again that I keep forgetting? Anointed. Pope People Purges Anointed One, Leslie Sullivan herself, the staunch constitutional originalist. That's me. And I do thank you for that, mirror, a little bit on that in a moment. Staunch constitutional originalist. And another certificate that I was given, although I do think that I should have gotten one along with Jerry Fleming for that the pen writing thing. I really think we should have been co-awarded for that, but that's okay. I forgive you for that. It was an oversight. I know, you told me later it was an oversight, but you never actually gave me that pen. You owe me a pen, but you would just take it away like you took away Lady Justice's merits and badges after over 100 preciples. How could you do that? I mean, really, the disproportionality of punishment. Almost like an Eric Brandt type thing. Even though one might do something actually wrong. I mean, she was the most loyal one to you, and about taking a bullet when Silence of the Law, who I love. You say we'll take a bullet for you? Well, sure, but Lady Liberty, Lady Justice, would be in front of Silence of the Law to take that bullet to protect both of you. That's the level of her loyalty. She has loyalty to a fault. And I've known that from the point even before she became moderator and close confidant with you. People, seriously, I wasn't here to hurt you. All this that you did was unnecessary. It was, and it's not helping you. You've lost at least 100 subs or thereabouts. I've lost none. Not that that's important. I'd rather you have yours than I have mine. I want your library protected. I want others to respect you. You're under a lot of pressure. We get that. And people, you've had 2 key individuals abandon you, and that might follow. You didn't even think that would be a possibility. You were so entombed in your certitude. I really feel bad. You kept saying I'm trying to take Lady Justice away from you. I understand that type of psychology, an individual. My father was a bit of a paranoid, a manic depressive. And he thought that my older brother, 6 years older, and my mom were conspiring against him simply, mind you, by them looking at each other in their eyes. Of course we never were. But we had to learn not to look at each other's eyes in front of my father, or say the wrong words, the wrong code, for fear of his tirade, like we've seen you. So I get it. I've been there. I don't need to go through it again with you. I'm sorry. I don't need to. I don't have to follow you 100%. If it's 100% in or you're out, then I'm sorry. I served at your beck and call as much as I could. Tried to build your channel. My actions prove it. So everything that you say is simply innuendo, hyperbole, and supposition and perception in your own mind, when it was never there from my intent to begin with. And that's concerning in itself. the same way that you never even knew that one of my codes, that was a good expression, preserving liberty in all caps. Yeah. Do you miss that I'm the one who spells it right and diplomatically says it correctly when another one says it in a comment incorrectly without me having to go embarrass them about how it's spelled if they're smart enough to catch on by seeing it in a header or otherwise, or how you say it? I mean, just let them incorporate whatever wisdom that you're able to pass on, of which you have a lot. And I think that you were trying to make an innuendo that my persona is, I've learned so much about what you're doing, about what your philosophies are, that my persona, I've changed into a clone of you, or is that you're talking about Lady Justice? Because there were a few things that were a little confusing to me, or maybe you ended up just saying them about both of us because you were talking for 2.25 hours, and then an hour and a half, and that on my Purge 2 excommunication. Sorry you did that. And I'd like you to put that up, because it's open and transparent. But I know it's not a democracy here with you, and it's your channel. You can do what you'd like within the guidelines of YouTube, and I support that too, but it's a little disingenuous. Was there anything there that you said that you're embarrassed or would like to take back? You can do that now. You can apologize. I'm waiting. Put it back up. I don't mind hearing all the unflattering things that you said about me and others. You know that one of the sweetest advocates we have hadn't even seen your vid. I mean, you're so full of yourself at this point. Forgive me for being so harsh by saying that you assume that everybody's seen it, your vid. You see your count. I think it was 300 or 500 after a while for the first one. It was about 250 while you were live during Lady Justice's excommunication. I use these religious terms just as I'm the anointed one. When you said it, it was flattering, but I knew that that was a transient statement, even though you were saying left and right, no, it's no matter what you do, with a big smile on your face, because you loved me at that moment. You wanted me, you needed me at that moment to be on the future people's bus so we could go around the country together. And when you came back, like the third time on our back and forth trips together, and some few you took alone when you stayed with me for a week and a half. Interesting experience when you knocked on my door, called me 5 minutes away, and said you're here. Of course I was honored, but you came to me, remember that. So when I'm out there videoing with you, auditing with you, it wasn't as though I said, no, I won't go. I'm afraid. I mean, I had to readjust a little bit in my schedule, not a lot. And I went out with you, telling you I had other things, financial pressings. I was trying to get into a van, and that it's hard for me to walk. And I still went. And it was nice. You were very respectful in that you didn't smoke a cigarette once. And you're a chain smoker. So I appreciate that, I do. And so when you mock me for that you don't like in the way I audit, or here I'm asking 5 questions to someone, I think that that's great and I put up a vid for it. I mean, excuse me, you're the one who took me out. You invited me to join you. And then you turn around and then mock me for it? I mean, people, think about that. And thank you very much for mirroring my vid number, practice number 25, speaking my 1A mind, or my fucking 1A mind. Dry mouth. Sunkist. This is not a paid commercial advertisement. Oh, right, I'm not on People Channel. I could do that, but I don't have 1,000 subs yet. I'm short 125. Cheers, y'all. I like to put up parody vids, comical ones if I did just this serious shite. I mean, we have to keep our sense of humor and our wits balanced, and I make these vids for my grandchildren. I said that in one of my vids. I try to make a variety so they can see all different aspects of my personality. So here's my payback after like 3 years of my time on in this movement. This is my thanks and my payback by you, who I've given my all for, just as Lady Justice have. And if you pushed her over the edge with your gaslighting, people, I'm sorry you have to face this. I know it's hard to. I tried bringing this up over the time that we were together. I referred to you as Mr. Spock from Star Trek. I had to explain that to you because you quite didn't know. Not that you don't have emotions, you do. But it's on a spectrum of things. I don't quite understand you there, but I have knowledge and experience with individuals whose brains are geared a little bit differently. That's all I'm saying. I like eccentricity. I'm an eccentric. The whole purpose of what we do in the liberty movement and Constitution is to protect the right to be eccentric, specifically, in my opinion, in my philosophy, to keep it succinct. And yes, Leslie can talk a lot. And yes, Leslie can be annoying. And in that video I put up for you, the first tribute video, and I had no idea how you'd react. I thought you might unmod me right then and there, because I know how sensitive you are, and the least misphrasing of something will catch your attention. But your phrasing of your words, when it deals with constitutional words, lives matter. That's my saying, by the way. Another one. I hope you know that I say that often. That I said at the end of that tribute vid to you, that I referenced again that about commerce, and then I said, no, people wouldn't like that. But since he has a good sense of humor, I might have even said and forgiven. I might have said that. I might have to take that back. But anyway, that Leslie will still be a bit of a nudge, N-U-D-G-E. So if you want to call it annoying, I'll call it a nudge. Because you need a nudge sometimes, and right now you need a spanking. I won't do it to you, because I don't want you to get any misinterpretation as to whether there's a sexual connotation behind it. Manipulating? You're damn straight I'm manipulating. And I say that at the end of my passion or anger vid. I like that vid. I think it's a great vid. I say that. I admit to it as a white knight. Not to do harm to you, and my actions show that. Anyone who thinks that I might actually have said or done the things that people is trying to castigate me for, then they just don't know me well enough or haven't seen enough of my vids or comments or the comments that others have made about me. My numbers might be low, but I assure you my influence is higher than that. And that's proven out by my actions and by the actions of others, because I haven't lost friends. I haven't lost subs. You've just confused a lot who are slowly coming around saying hello to me. Search them out, people, as you said you would. Ban them. Ban anyone who talks to anyone who's been banned, who's been banned, who's been banned. This is a Stalinist purge. This is how it starts incrementally. someone of your intelligence, how you can't see this yourself is beyond me and a few others who are viewing your behavior right now. Please stop doing that for the sake of our progeny. They're the only ones who will really lose out on this drama. And I don't want to have anything to do with drama. I hope I don't have to put this vid up. I'm trying to be nice because I have no ill intent not to be nice to you, when I should have every single reason to be angry at you. But I can't, because I understand the psychology behind it. And I respect too many aspects of what you do, and how much you've done, and how much you could offer, and I don't want it to be tainted. Even though sticks and stones will break bones, but names and words will never harm me. We know that our society has changed, and that nursery rhyme is no longer taught. We teach nursery rhymes now about how wonderful it is for 4 or 5-year-olds and 7-year-olds in nursery schools and kindergarten to wear a mask. And whether COVID's real or not, which it is, we still don't want government laying down laws where they're throwing people onto the pavement and handcuffing them and forcing a mask over their face. I mean, Australia, you're shot, Australia. You gave up your own weapons, and you Americans, we better not do that. Look to Australia. Not that that might not stop it, but at least it gives a second thought on the side of government and or even military. The reason the Japanese knew that they could never take over the United States was, even back then, with only 100 million population, we also had 100 million guns. And that's a long way across the country to fight house to house. So it's not just to fight against our governments, it's for invading armies. And right now we actually have an invading force in blue in many aspects. Some police officers, if you saw Rice Krispies' video today with James Madison audits and Rogue Nation, where there was a security guard who was saying that they could record, but, and then the police came, and at first it was another Marine, but didn't want to really communicate much, and that led to a negative feeling about him. And Rice Krispie even more than compromised by looking online instead of getting that hard copy for the town annual budget. And they ended up going outside and communicating beautifully. And then all of them with the other 2 officers on the side, who really do make one feel, maybe in this department, it's not virtually all of them who were dirty or complicit. Now, we may end up disagree on the definition with this officer, even still, with the concept of complicity and primary officer, and whether they would back a citizen before primary officer. That I'm still not so sure, because I don't think even this officer might get it to that respect, to that extent, I mean. Hand's getting tired, but I'll suffer through this. I've read Siddhartha by Herman Hesse, so I can do that. I can postpone my bodily needs to satisfy the ones that are most important as a writer, my train of thought. Because stepping away from a train of thought, you might not get it back, just like coming up with a profound thought. If you don't have a pen or a pencil or a pen amongst your digits, then you might forget that thought. So I always make sure to carry pens and pencils and pencils and pens. And God actually did not give me everything I prayed for, because he left me my thumb and opposing digit on either side, so I don't rip and tear the world apart as I rush through it like Edward Scissorhands. So I know the difference between active omission and active commission. So if I am a good manipulator, it's thoughtfully as I go along. We all manipulate. Psychologists manipulate. They just don't like that word used, that term used that way, because it has a negative connotation. But it doesn't really, when you think about it. Same word with selfish. Is it selfish for me to want to have my mother live one day longer, even while she's in the hospital, pretty much in a coma? That's selfish of me, but it's through a purity of heart. So it's similar with manipulation. We all manipulate. We all change our persona slightly with every single individual we speak to. Every single mood we're in, every day that we've grown into a different person. That's why we often say, even with all my hardships I had in the past, and all those experiences, I wouldn't change a thing, because it makes me who I am today. But tomorrow, you're not the same person you were today. You're different. And when you look over a lengthy period of time, it's almost as though it's a stranger you're looking back upon. So I understand as much as I can, being a layperson, just through my upbringing, the mixture and the soup of life mix that I got, that we all get uniquely a different combination, thank goodness, right? If we just want to try to strive towards more equality of the law, and year upon year we approach that. We know in some areas we have been, especially when you look back decades upon decades. It's not all a pretty picture. And so thank you for mirroring that video. I think I started with about 250 at that point. I had come in maybe 8 months before. I don't remember exactly. This could be wrong. So anyone want to go fact check me and find out I only had 150? I mean, whatever. I started with 3. I didn't even know what YouTube was. I just thought they did viral videos. If I had known about YouTube, I would have done much better on that blog site when I was trying to thwart Comey. Because I was the first one who actually published on the World Wide Web. I had a staff of 2 putting out a 10-page weekly. I was the first one to say that Comey was a traitor, and I had supported him. But I'm a constitutionalist first, and as soon as I realized he was a better chess player than me, and his actual goal, in my opinion, was to replace Trump with Pence. That's, didn't know about YouTube. I didn't know what I didn't know. I learned quickly. I learned about VPNs and all sorts of things like that. But that's such as such. So none of you know what I did to try to support liberty, or the extents I went to interacting with police, because I didn't even know about video cameras. Never thought about the paparazzi and why they couldn't get arrested. I didn't know. A smart girl like me. Can you believe it? So if I didn't, maybe a lot of those Karens and Brads don't either. And that's up to us. It's our job to teach them. Please stop calling them Karens and Brads. I know you need the clickbait. I get that. I just don't like it. I generally don't watch vids that have that. Just saying. There's so many for me to watch. So thank you for the mirror. I think I got easily an extra 75. I think it was 150 vids from your recommendation, people. Thank you. Thumbs up for that. Truly. We all need to help each other out, And as you call El Presidente, he's OG as far as helping the community. And it's fantastic. And Rights Crispy helped me a lot by putting up a huge thank you page for me when he got out of that jail for the first time. Opened up with his drone. A great production. RC gets A+ for production. A couple of other videos in contender. But so Big Nick's opening with that huge monster coming out. Love that. So anyway, so thank you, Rights Krispies, for the 50 or 100 or however many. 10th man also. Don't care what you think of 10th man, because as you've hopefully figured out now, I watch and listen to others who generally are only watched by either one group or another group. I'm here for commonality. That was part of the purpose of my credo and mission statement when I came on board the Liberty ship. Commonality of purpose, set petty differences aside until after liberty is secured. You get it, everybody? Otherwise, you're sabotaging liberty. Bonehead, you wish, and there were many others, by the way, who left, who either mirrored or put my vid or vids up on their community page. I appreciate all of you. I'm not going to name names now for fear that people might ban them. You're going to have your spies out on other person's channels, people, to come back to you to let you know who spoke to me or responded or gave me recognition. And all those who did respond, anyone who responds to them, how many 6 degrees of separation are we going to get? You're going to take and ban the whole community? I mean, you had a rough time keeping track of the different badges that you were awarding. How are you going to keep track without an accountant? I mean, you're going to need one for the People's School when you start raking in all that money. How many do you have signed up right now? Is it all for free? It's a non-profit. So are you taking in money for that? I know you have an annuity, whatever it's called. You've gone to accept donations. I've never had a problem with that. I know that you don't do commerce. I got that. And that your satellite people's family, like Silence of the Law and Lady Justice, there's no reason why they can't monetize. I mean, liberty isn't free. It costs gas, equipment, a lot of equipment gets seized, and a right to cover their own time. I mean, it's a free market. I don't want crony capitalism. I'd like persons to support. See, I'm respectful for that. When you say it, that I use your words and I'm acting like you, yes, I call from every source I have, just as when we read great readers and writers of the past. We want to take in the positive aspects of it and improve on others and toss out things that don't work now or never did, or just adjust. That's normal human behavior as adults. So if my personality is like yours, which a lot of it is similar, you and I came, it was interesting, we came to because I consider myself to be a poet philosopher. So I think about these things. I write about everything. Multiple drafts. That's how I hone my thoughts. To look at me as a third person, no, that's not quite right. I don't like that word. That's the wrong word. Giving the wrong meaning. Or too many words. Right? And a great line in Mozart's Amadeus, the movie, when the Prince of Prussia said too many notes, and Amadeus said, which note? Do you want to take out? Now, I'm no Mozart. My mother thought I was in my poetry. That's why she dubbed me the Bardette. That's my email address name, which I have listed, so I'm not doxing myself. Anyone's open to email and talk to me. You're not guaranteed a response, but so far I have. But I reserve the right not to respond to you. But I do leave an open line of communication, direct to Leslie herself, the staunch constitutional originalist. Yeah. Capital Y, capital A, capital Y, capital A, capital A, capital A, capital A, capital H, exclamation point. Now, I never memorized all the codes. That was too much for me. And people I know was a little bit upset with me even last year. And there were a few things, because we bantered a lot. And at some point, during the timing of him realizing that all those he brought to other channels, like a Chuck Bronson type of thing, to leave comments on another channel. Brilliant stuff. We all had fun. It was a win-win-win for everyone, except people didn't think it was a win for himself. He pretty much said so on one of his live chats to his own peeps. I don't like that term, but that's okay. It's cute. That's just me. So his own peeps. And I say peeps for out of respect for people. So I can speak more in his code to make him comfortable and to try not to alienate him, because that's not my purpose, nor has it been. That's only in his own mind. I can't control others' feelings, in this case, other people's feelings. And so there's that. And I get my vids, my subscribers one by one by one by one. I'm a small channel. I put up a lot of comments. They're pretty decent comments. And when people said it's okay to heart your own comment, I think that's a reasonable statement. Because if you don't love your own comment, why put it down? Or why be embarrassed? The only thing is that the perception of the recipient might not understand that, because they're not clairvoyant, and they haven't been gifted with automatic, profound knowledge that even people didn't have until he started walking from Miami to Houston or to Texas. And nor do many of us would have been called out as Brads or Karens, as bootlickers 5 or 10 years ago, before we became nuanced with the knowledge of the subtleties of our rights regarding the use of video cameras. I mean, rulings on recording police directly. This is something fairly new in modern times. Police have been protected. It was just the onset, pretty much, of video cameras that all these gray area matters had to be settled and are still being settled, including distance, what size a bubble can be and what the definition of a bubble is, and people has delved into that greatly. So anyway, a lot of us could have been at the other end being called a Karen or a Brad. So it's really a bit hypocritical. We already know. Why do we have to demean someone else and make them hate us even more? A citizen, no less. That's not educating or winning hearts and minds. That's just having them hate us more. And maybe even going home to their tween children and saying, yeah, I just got to tell you this little bad experience I had with these things calling themselves First Amendment advocates. This movement. I don't know if they're sovereign citizens or maybe Antifa. I mean, I don't know. But they were really harassing the cops, and me too. Then they called me a Karen. And the kids now hate First Amendment orders, perhaps. It probably doesn't add to the picture, is what I'm saying. It does add to clickbait. Shaking my hand out. Look how fast I can shake my hand. I can do it fast enough where my thumb smashes against my finger. There we go. Okay. That was stimulating. So it was a good slap in the face. There are different ways to stimulate oneself in the morning. Most Americans take a cup of coffee. We're caffeine addicted. You can do it through exercise, shock. Menin's aftershave lotion used to basically have that in their advertising. Right? You give a slap in the face, and a little dab will do ya. I'm showing my age. So, shock. Having to run away from the saber-toothed tiger. That's why cross-training in athletics is so important, because we really do have to be geared to never knowing when we have to run away from the saber-toothed tiger, and to know what our limits are, and to try to learn to be in control of our adrenaline as much as we can, and our fears. I mean, you have to admire anyone who just presents themselves with a camera, which from a cop's perspective could be perceived as an adversarial position, which separates you as another form of citizenship with the general population, even paparazzi, who cops will accept more than they will in order to, who's trying to protect the Constitution, and who is not going out of their way to engage with a citizen, even though it's in public. So that shouldn't be our primary position. And if we do, I think that it should be done in as much of an educational fashion as possible. Everyone do their own thing. Cops specifically have to be tested on all different types of levels, from the crudest to the most sophisticated and everything in between. I get that. I support that. Even though I personally would prefer to communicate with cops and learn as much about their background and get them to like me and maybe even trust me a little bit, so I can start asking them other questions that they generally just turn around and walk away, or say that this isn't open to debate, or we can agree to disagree. And to try to improve the situation a little bit in an ever-increasing acceleration, same word, that was redundant, authoritarianism. What else of import do I have to cover? Shame on you people. You're too brilliant to have allowed your ego to get in the way